Secretary Pete Hegseth has even gone as far as raising the prospect of U.S. troops on the ground in Mexico to take on the deadly drug cartels.
Plus, they have all these non-tariff barriers where we can't sell our hair dryers there, but they can sell their hair dryers here. This nonsense has got to end. So that's reciprocity.
Just days after the 47th president's widely watched smackdown of Ukrainian President Zelenskyy in the Oval Office, Mexico, Canada, China, and Europe move into the president's sights. Friday, a show of strength and a message to Ukraine and to Europe. Pony up or America walks.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
Beverly, why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. I just want to see if you own a suit.
This man is fighting for his country.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
This man is fighting for his country.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
On the battlefields of the east, Ukraine tries to repel the Russians. But on the western frontier, it's engaged in a different sort of war. Here, the authorities are trying to stop their citizens from getting out. They're needed in the army. It's short of recruits. But there are thousands of Ukrainians, like these men caught near the border with Romania, who do not want to fight. We make contact with a man preparing to flee through the mountains of western Ukraine. He calls himself Ivan and says he can't wait any longer.
I'm not being disloyal. Everyone understands this. Many of my friends have already gone. Anyone who has their opportunity is leaving.
And in a groundbreaking interview, we meet a smuggler who helps young men flee before they're conscripted. Stas says he's not ashamed of what he does.
People simply aren't ready to die. Young people aren't ready to bury themselves alive. So they turn to us for help. A lot of people are turning to us.
Some call them traitors. Others say they're weak. But every day, the authorities catch men suspected of dodging the draft. And the number of deserters is expected to climb as the government lowers the enlistment age from 27 to 25. In December, the army said it needed up to 500,000 more troops. It's a very sensitive matter, said President Zelenskyy, but he has bowed to the wishes of his generals.
A sovereign nation got invaded. His people were dying. And the fucker talks about him wearing a suit. I hate the country.
Meanwhile,
when Western North Carolina was underwater, and people was begging for help, FEMA gave just $750 to Western North Carolina, but that potbelly dictator Zelenskyy got $80 billion. You remember that? You remember how people were mad and how the people in Western North Carolina were suffering. But Zelenskyy flew in and got $80 billion. So, for all of you who are upset, let me be the first, being I'm from North Carolina, Black Trump supporter, we don't give a damn about you being mad yesterday. We're still pissed off from October. What we saw yesterday was how we felt since October when Hurricane Helena flooded Western North Carolina, killed people, and all we got was a $750 check. That's all he got. And then we found out that if you had a Trump sign in front of your house, FEMA skipped over you. We ain't forgot that either. See, that happened in Florida. We ain't forgot that. So we rehashing 2024 election? Fine. Zelenskyy can go to hell. Sincerely yours, Black Trump supporter.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's backed you far more than a lot of people said they should have. You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now.
A few moments later.
Our Lucas Tomlinson reporting the United States is pausing all U.S. military aid to Ukraine until President Trump determines the Ukrainians show a commitment of good faith peace negotiations. That's according to a senior Trump administration telling Fox. This is not a permanent termination of aid. It is a pause. The orders are going out right now. The official said this in response to Ukrainian President Zelensky's conduct over the last week and his words over the weekend. So it's all stopping, Brian.
Yeah, well, he needs an apology. President Trump says, I need a direct apology. This can be fixed with a phone call. Sorry if things went off the rails. Liked the first 45 minutes of our talk. Didn't like the last 10. So let's get this thing back on track. I understand what you mean, and let's do it. And then you put the ball in Russia's court, and let's see how sincere they are. But it's going to take a call from Zelenskyy to Trump directly. And I'm sure he'd take the call. The guy does not hold grudges.
Meanwhile.
Now, Mexico, Canada, and China await Trump's promised tariffs this upcoming Tuesday for their failure to end the flow of deadly fentanyl into America.
Flashback.
Shocking body cam video released tonight by the San Diego Sheriff's Department. It shows a deputy on the brink of death after being exposed to fentanyl. The deputy saved by his partner, who was equipped with the life-saving medicine known as Narcan. We do want to warn you, what you're about to see is difficult to watch.
I'm not going to let you die. I need Narcan! I got you. I got you.
Dramatic body cam video capturing the moment Corporal Scott Crane of the San Diego County Sheriff's Department is promising his trainee, Deputy David Five-Eye, he's not going to let him die after Five-Eye was exposed to fentanyl while processing drugs at the scene of an arrest in early July. That discovery caught on Five-Eye's own body cam just minutes earlier.
Yeah, it's a powder.
It could be cocaine or fentanyl. It tested positive for fentanyl.
The synthetic opioid is 50 times more potent than heroin, and exposure to just a few small grains can have deadly consequences. In Five-Eye's case, the exposure and his reaction to it was almost instant.
A couple seconds later, he took some steps back and he collapsed. I ran over to him and I grabbed him and he was OD'ing.
Corporal Crane was equipped with the nasal spray Narcan, a prescription medicine that rapidly reverses the effects of an overdose. Still, Five-Eye needed more. Here he is, in his own words, still emotional.
My lungs just locked up. I couldn't breathe. I was trying to gasp for breath, but I couldn't breathe at all.
Five-Eye, you okay? Talk to me. Oh, no. Don't be sorry. You're okay. Don't be sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. I got you, okay? I'm not going to let you die.
Deputy Five-Eye taken by ambulance, overdosing again and again on his way to the hospital. But without his partner and that Narcan, he knows he would have been just another statistic in this country's deadly drug overdose epidemic.
I'm Deputy David Five-Eye, and I almost died of a fentanyl overdose.
Over the last year, fentanyl deaths in California have spiked almost 46%. According to the San Diego Sheriff's Department, deputies in San Diego were in fact the very first in this state to begin carrying the Narcan,
which has claimed hundreds of thousands of American lives. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has even gone as far as raising the prospect of U.S. troops on the ground in Mexico to take on the deadly drug cartels.
And both Mexico and Canada have done a reasonable job on the border. They're both working hard on the border. You know, we've had the lowest crossings ever under Donald Trump because of his ability to negotiate with Canada and Mexico. But the fentanyl continues to come into this country and continues to murder our people. And the ingredients are made in China. They're sent to Mexico and Canada, and then they come and attack our country, and that's got to end. Plus, they have all these non-tariff barriers where we can't sell our hair dryers there, but they can sell their hair dryers here. This nonsense has got to end. So that's reciprocity.